We are live. All right. Welcome, everybody. We're here with Lindsay Halsey today for the Quickly Hire Agency Hour. Lindsay, it's great to see you.
Thanks so much, Emily. Great to see you too.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I love the topic we've got for today, so we're going to dig into that in just a minute. If you're watching, we are live streaming on YouTube, so the Quickly Hire YouTube channel. If you're there, go ahead and hit subscribe because we have a lot of live streams already coming down the pipeline. They're already scheduled in there. You can go check it out. We have the Remote Leadership Unleashed series where we talk about managing remote and distributed teams and being a more effective leader. So those have been really great. And then we have this Agency Hour series where we talk with Lindsay and then other subject matter experts about ways to grow your business and grow revenue and make a difference in your agency. So go ahead and hit subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're watching on LinkedIn, you can follow Quickly Hire, and we've got those events scheduled out there as well. So before we dig into today's event, which is keyword research for web designers, which I think is such a great topic. So thank you, Lindsay, for putting that one together. I'm really excited for it. I think it's perfect for our agency owner audience because a lot of folks in there I know like to focus on development and design and not so much the copy and the content strategy. And I'm excited to hear what you have to say about that today and how they can do that in a way that makes sense for them. But first, Quickly Hire is the fastest way to add vetted freelancers to your team. At Quickly Hire, we understand the importance of assembling top-tier talent for your business. So whether you need a developer, a content marketer, designer, virtual assistant, we just announced recently that we have social media managers, paid ad specialists, and SEO experts in our network now. So if you need that kind of assistance and need to grow your team or are looking to grow your team and add on those services, reach out to us. We'd love to hear about your needs, where you're headed, and match you up with some great talent that we have in our network. The Quickly Hire platform connects you with these highly vetted freelancers that we've already interviewed and assessed and all of that. And we pair you up with folks who match your budget and your requirements, ensuring that you have a perfect fit for your team. So reach out if you're interested in learning more about working with Quickly Hire. So yeah, today we're here with Lindsay Halsey. Lindsay is co-founder of Pathfinder SEO. She is our SEO expert. If you've been to one of these events in the past or one of the Pathfinder SEO events, you know that she knows her stuff. So I'm just going to hand it right on over to Lindsay.
Thanks, Emily, and thanks everyone for being here today. We are going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is keyword research. But this isn't going to be your average keyword research presentation because I'm not going to go through keyword research tools and the ins and outs of essentially the technical part of doing keyword research. Instead, we really want to put a frame or a lens around this about strategy and more of a qualitative process that you can apply to your web design projects, even if you don't offer SEO services, to add more value for your clients. And also, you might apply it to your own agency and your own business if you engage in some SEO on your own website. So let me start sharing my screen here. And I just want to start with a little bit of something we hear a lot, and I agree with. And that it's hard to establish what is in and out of project scope when it comes to web design and SEO. So SEO isn't done in a back office. And when it comes to, which means it doesn't happen sort of in a silo. Instead, SEO really is everyday marketing. It is content marketing, it's user experience, it's site speed, it's site security, etc. And so there's a blurry line when you're designing and building a website for a client between staying in the project scope of a web design project and engaging in SEO or potentially needing to charge for SEO services. So figuring out in your business where this line is going to be something that you may want to think about. And here's just a little bit of an example about where I kind of think about SEO responsibilities for a web design project. And things that typically fall in web designers' scope, things that typically fall out of scope, and then the category of the maybe, meaning it will depend on your agency and how you scope your projects. But ultimately, within the scope, I see things like setting up the Google Search Console This is an SEO specific tool from Google, but it also helps you as a webmaster. And so it's a nice tool. It's free to have in your back pocket. And that's something that I kind of consider within the scope of a web design project that doesn't have like an add-on of SEO service. Building keyword awareness. And I really use the word awareness here purposefully because you're going to see on the other side of the coin is the out of scope piece, and that is keyword research. Keyword research and crafting an in-depth keyword strategy for a client or anything in the world of advanced SEO strategy, that falls out of scope of a web design project and in the scope of an SEO services project, maybe in kind of an SEO setup phase of work. And so this keyword awareness piece is where we're going to focus our attention now. But part of why we focus here is because it's going to help you create an SEO-friendly site structure, follow header best practices, etc., while you're building the website. And so other things that sort of fall in scope, designing a good site structure, installing an SEO plugin, following header best practices or image best practices, just basically building a really sound website. I should add accessibility into in scope over on one side here. Consulting on the need for 301 redirects. So if your client is launching a new website and has an existing website, educating them on what happens when URLs change and how they may need to invest in an add-on project or an SEO project around 301 redirects. And then just simply ensuring the site can get crawled and indexed. And when you look at this list of things that are on the in-scope side, my assumption and kind of when I chat with other web designers is that most of these things feel pretty comfortable, like you would follow, header best practices or image best practices naturally as part of your process. But the building keyword awareness piece is the one that stands out and starts to feel a little bit more like an SEO specific skill set. And so I want to show you what this looks like and what its value is. So the first is this distinction between what is keyword research and keyword strategy, and then what is this concept of keyword awareness. And when I think about keyword research or building a client's keyword strategy, I think about it as being a strategic and quantitative process where you walk away with your keywords clustered together and mapped to pages, and that you can order the keyword in priority for each of those pages on your website based on volume and competition metrics and things like that. So if you're engaging in keyword research, which falls into the category of being in an SEO project, you're building or you're looking at spreadsheets like this, where you can see we have a cluster of keywords that map to a specific topic or a page, and we've researched those. And we've started to prioritize and order them based on search volume in this case. For a small website or a local business space, this isn't too complicated or time consuming, because you can imagine that if it's small, you only have so many clusters or topics of keywords to explore. And so you could do this and maybe you would end up with sort of 10x what you see here on the screen, meaning you'd have 10 different pages where you've done the research for that page and you've mapped keywords to pages and you've been strategic here and you've completed a more full-scale keyword research project. But for a large website or a business with a national audience, this becomes a significant effort because they may have tens or even 100 pages that need this level of more hands-on research. And so that's really what we consider, all of this work. Once you get into spreadsheets and exporting data out of keyword research tools, et cetera, you've moved into the category of providing SEO services and just want to make sure you're getting paid for them. But And this is just a snapshot of where that line in my mind kind of gets crossed. And that is oftentimes when we start using a keyword research tool that's going to help you quantify search volume and competition, and then ultimately allow you to track keyword rankings over time. And so this is just a screenshot of the built-in keyword tool in Pathfinder. But if we go back to the other side of the scale where we're going to focus our attention, we think about this idea of building keyword awareness. And I want to start with what's the value of doing this. And the value comes across in different parts of our web design process. The first is that when you build keyword awareness for your clients, it's going to help inform the sitemap and navigation structure decisions you make. So understanding their keyword space from a big picture standpoint is going to allow you to make better choices around what pages live on the website and where. The next is it's going to allow you to communicate better with your customer. It's going to allow you to show them that you understand not just building them a great website, but that you are have an SEO mindset and that you are thinking about how they're going to get traffic to this website. And it's going to let you essentially communicate about SEO best practices along the way. So if your client is in charge of the copywriting and they provide you with copy, let's just say it's a local business, and the copy is great, but it's so generic. And by generic, I mean it could be representative of that type of local business anywhere in the world. So they never really used their geographic keywords. And we see this, let's say it's a day spa, and they write and they create this engaging copy, but it's somewhat vanilla in that you could make this a day spa anywhere in the world, because nowhere in it did they actually drop in like, hey, this is an Atlanta-based day spa or something like that. So having this keyword mindset is going to allow you to communicate better with your clients and give them feedback on things along the way. It's also going to let you weave in SEO best practices as you go. So you can certainly pick SEO up as something you invest in after a website goes live. But just like if you're building a house and you're doing a little bit of wiring while you build it to make it so you could put a TV on the wall in your bedroom, it's a little more effective if you think some of these things through on the early side. And so some keyword awareness is going to allow you to do that. And it's going to help you to prevent a big drop in organic search traffic. And I know that even if SEO services aren't something you're providing in conjunction with a web design project, one of the fears that a lot of web designers I chat with when it comes to Google is like, well, I do a lot of redesigns for clients and I'm always worried I'm sort of going to break something or lose something for them. I know that new website's going to be, faster, more secure, more user-friendly, super engaging. It's going to be a big lift. But I, also have experienced sites dropping after we make changes with Google, and I'm worried that could happen. And so there's a lot of value here into building keyword awareness and just setting aside what will only be 10, 15 minutes for this exercise in the long run as part of your early process in working with a client. So let's break this process down of how to build keyword awareness as a web designer. And step one is really just to identify where the client is today using Google Analytics and the Google Search Console. Now, this is only applicable to you if your client already has an existing website. If they don't have an existing website, you're not going to have access to this type of data or insight. But there's a few things we want to learn about. We want to explore, is organic search a key marketing channel? Sort of like, what are the stakes? Are they even getting traffic from this today? The next is it increasing or decreasing or staying flat over time? So are we on already like a certain trajectory? The next is what keywords are leading to traffic, and then what pages are key to the current success. So what pages are the ones that are actually showing up on Google? And so these first two questions, the key marketing channel and is traffic increasing, we ask and answer those in Google Analytics typically. So if you can get access to your client's Google Analytics account, you can come in and you can go into the reports functionality, the second one here, and then go down to acquisition and traffic acquisition. And you can open this up and you can start to see where organic search fits in the big picture of their traffic. And what kind of value is it delivering? High quality visitors? In this case, you'd say, yeah, people are staying on site 2 minutes and 43 seconds, reasonably high conversion rate. It looks like organic search is an important part of this business's, marketing strategy and marketing channel. And then you could open up the time range. You could do last 12 months, whatever you think is applicable, and see how this traffic is trending over time. And look at it in that light. So this is one area where you're going to want to go and just get a big picture of where they are today within organic search. As basic as this analysis is, some of this could be even mind-blowing for a client. So a lot of times clients don't know things like as basic as, organic search over the last 12 months was your most significant marketing channel, and any kind of trends or data here. So even just basic information can go a long way. The next tool that I like to turn to is starting to look at keywords and key pages. And in analytics, we don't get keyword data from organic search. We have to go over to the Search Console. And this is one of those things that I said, hey, this is kind of a nice tool to put into your workflow for a web design project, is getting access to a client's Google Search Console if they have an existing website. It's a pretty easy process. You simply come in and click Add Property. And for 9 out of 10 projects, you can go with the URL prefix method of verification. This just basically means you're only verifying that exact website. And so by that, I mean, it's appropriate if the client's website all exists on one domain with no subdomains. And if you don't plan for any major changes here, so if you're going to go from HTTP to HTTPS, or you're going to change and be like www here, if you're going to make changes to these protocols, you'll want to go with the domain verification, because that really wraps everything under the domain. But if this is staying the same as part of your project, meaning no changes to the www or the security here, and no content lives on like a blog.pathfinder or blog.domain.com, URL prefix is great for you. And this should verify in a matter of seconds based on the fact you already have analytics access. So getting into the Search Console is relatively easy for a client, but what it gives you is awesome here in this performance section. So if I click Full Report, the first thing that I like to do here is I like to click average click-through rate and average position to sort of get those metrics to turn on. And really, Google Search Console only gives me 4 metrics about keywords. It's how many clicks did we get, how many impressions, so how many people saw it or how many searches were there on Google, what's my average click-through rate? This is just clicks divided by impressions. And then average position is on average across, all users, all devices, all over the world, what is my average position for that keyword on Google? And this tends to be even more insightful for both you and for clients, in that you can come in and quickly wrap your head around where the client is actually getting their traffic from. And when you come in here, you're going to see a wide variety of different things happening. Oftentimes we see the brand as the top search keywords. And one of the first things you can do is go and see, well, are they already number 1 for their brand? And if so, are they winning the click often, et cetera. And brand keyword space is generally pretty safe in a web design project, because as long as they're not changing the name of their brand, there's really no reason you would lose this traffic, or maybe if they're really changing domains significantly. This traffic is pretty secure. And so if you come into the Search Console and you see over on one side in analytics, organic search is an important marketing channel, and then you come into performance and you see that 99% of their traffic is coming from brand-related keywords, you feel like while the stakes feel high in volume over in analytics, on the reality side, the client really only has exposure for their brand keywords. They don't have any exposure in the non-brand keyword space. So there's not a lot to lose there. On the other hand, if you come in here and you find all sorts of non-brand keywords that you anticipate are highly converting, you start to say, okay, not only is traffic pretty high and pretty important from what we saw in analytics, but I can also see that they already have really good traction for some non-brand keywords. And in this process, I want to make sure I preserve that traffic. And so you can look at this, in keyword lists and expand the list, et cetera, to really kind of get a sense literally on a keyword by keyword basis. Or you can go over to this Pages tab, and I like this quite a bit because this is going to start to cluster keywords together. And so this gives me a quick overview as to what's going on here. And I'm like, oh, I noticed that it's their blog that's driving the bulk of their traffic. And so this is for Pathfinder's own website. And what the key observation would be here is that this website gets traffic for brand and blog keywords. there's not a lot of traffic or traction coming in for like the features page or a product page or a pricing page in here. And so they don't, our website doesn't rank for something like SEO software for agencies or something like that. We rank and get traffic from our blog primarily, and then just from some brand awareness. And so we've kind of explored in a very rough and quick way, because this is not a paid SEO project. This is just getting to know the client and their baseline. We've explored these questions, and now it's going to allow us to get in and communicate this with clients, and to let them know if you're having a little check-in call and, hey, I looked under the hood at your organic search performance, and I want to set a couple of expectations for you here today. And here's sort of what I'm thinking. And I understand what pages are key to current success. If you have concerns about a drop in traffic or you don't. So, hey, I don't have any concerns because most of your traffic is coming from your brand, or I don't have huge concerns because we're going to migrate your whole blog onto the new website. And we're going to, improve usability on those pages. And so they should only get a lift. Or do you start to see an opportunity to invest in SEO, whether that is something you're going to then pitch them your SEO services or hook them up with another partner who provides that. Early and often in the project, you can communicate to the client and really build a lot of trust by helping them to understand these key dynamics in a big picture sense. So step 2 is that we're going to actually invest in qualitative keyword research. And if step 1 didn't apply because you're working with a brand new business that does not have an existing website, then step 2 is something that applies to everybody. Whether you're brand new, working on a brand new website for a new business, or you're doing a site migration or update, we can all invest in some qualitative keyword research. And if you've already started this with the Google Search Console, we can get a little inspiration from the Google Search Console around what keywords might be out there. But then I tend to turn to Google Search Suggest, and then also sometimes I turn on a Chrome extension or a tool called Keywords Everywhere. So let me go and show you what I mean by this. I go to Google and I say, okay, I'm working with a day spa in Atlanta. So I'm going to put in day spa Atlanta. And all I've done is put in like day spa and then AT. And I instantly get a sense of how people search. They put in Atlanta, Atlanta, GA, Atlanta, Georgia. Then there's Atlantic City. That's not us. And then some other spots. And then I see a qualifier of like being at a hotel. So I get a sense that maybe there's other ways people search. So let's start with Atlanta. And then I can see in here, okay, sometimes people put in the plural. So day spas versus day spa. The best keyword is really important. In this case, people are searching Korean day spa, boutique, or day spa pass. So maybe, if somebody has like a membership for the day type thing, something like Day Spa Pass Atlanta could be the type of keyword. And so I'm building awareness in this keyword space that's going to help me to say, okay, the homepage, for instance, is probably going to be all focused on day spa related keywords. And then we'll have a services drop down. And for the services pages, we might actually have each of the services that we offer. And so we can do this for clients in all sorts of different keyword spaces. And we can just basically kind of play around a little bit in the search results by looking at the search suggest to get a sense of sometimes synonyms, word order, plural, qualifiers like the word best or boutique. These are all things that we can learn about a keyword space if we're less familiar with it. I can then go ahead and just actually perform the search, and I can scroll down and I can see, what kind of results are showing up here and what others are putting into their keywords that are ranking really well. And so here I can see, must try spas in Atlanta. So not everybody puts the word day spa because some people just put spa. Some people are putting natural in there. Some are getting more specific about geography. So here's one that has Midtown Atlanta. So that could be a question if you're working in a big geographic area. Do I go with all of Atlanta or like all of Denver? Or do I go with a region like downtown or a suburb or something like that? I can see the word best coming in here, etc. And then sometimes I come down and I look in the people also ask section, and depending on what you're studying, you might get some really good questions or other keyword ideas down in here. Typically, when you're working with a local business and you're doing this kind of qualitative keyword awareness building, you don't necessarily get as many great insights from people also ask. But when you go to working with a national level business, you often do. So if I do something for a national, based business, I might do something like Mount Rainier. And here I can see the keywords around Mount Rainier. People ask about elevation, reservations, the actual height of the mountain, webcams, weather, national park map, and then more direction related keywords. And so if I was designing a website for a Mount Rainier based tourism or travel company, that might give me some ideas as the type of keywords or pages that I want to map in. But then when I come down to the people also ask, I tend to get more questions that might be applicable to my client that I can start to integrate in here. So spending a little time kind of playing around in Google and just looking at the landscape of the keywords here. If it was going to be a lodging website, I might put in the word lodging and then start to get some ideas like, oh, I should have a pet-friendly landing page. And then Mount Rainier is a big place, so I might need a landing page for the different cities in the area and things like that. So it gives you insights that might help you as you put together your overall website strategy for the client. The other thing that I can do if I want to get a little, more in depth is I can use a keyword research tool. And the one that I really like for just looking at some big picture data is Keywords Everywhere. So I don't have to go to the Keywords Everywhere tool. It's a Chrome extension that's pretty affordable. And I just turn it on and off based on when I'm using it because I don't want to burn through my credits, but the pricing is quite reasonable. And so now if I come back and I do another search, we'll go do best interior designer. So if I go and do a local search, best interior designer in Denver, and I scroll down here into the organic search results, I get insights from this Keywords Everywhere tool that are going to help me to understand essentially kind of what the difficulty is, what the volume is. And then down here, I get to see other ideas around keywords that maybe I hadn't thought about and that I might want to invest in my page map. So again, it's building awareness, and it's one of those areas I usually just have a pen and a paper out and I'm just writing down ideas so that I kind of feel like I walk away with a big picture sense of the opportunity space here without getting into the weeds and actually, quantifying and measuring and deciding, oh, this is the full-blown keyword strategy. Again, I'm just building awareness here. The next step in the process is to think strategically. And this is where the rubber really meets the road, because these days there are a lot of great tools out there, and you can go and hire someone to do the process of like an in-depth keyword research and data collection type project. But what sets that project apart and what really makes it results driven is to think strategically about this overlap between the keyword space in Google and the site build. And while I think strategically, I like to sort of categorize all the keywords that I wrote down on my piece of paper. And I like to try to get a big picture sense for my client around where do they have traffic now and what is their opportunity space. And I think about it as basically being in a customer acquisition funnel that ranges from top funnel to mid funnel to bottom funnel. And this just takes a visitor potentially from the awareness side to the consideration to the conversion. And if we talk about the conversion side of things, the bottom of the funnel, this is that brand traffic. So this is where those websites that essentially only are getting traffic for their brand, they're just getting traffic to their homepage, maybe their about page, maybe their reviews page. And that's that conversion area, which is great. But you need people to be searching for the brand for that to actually be a very it's not a very full funnel, because there's nothing above it that's leading towards getting people into that conversion-based mindset. So if we go up to a mid-funnel point, we're thinking about keywords that are really bringing in people that are just one step away from making a purchase or doing the thing that the website is all about. So for our website, if you searched for SEO software for an agency or best SEO reporting tool for agencies or something like that, I would put you in our mid-funnel. And the reason you'd be in that mid-funnel is because you're getting pretty transactional. You're looking for the software, the actual thing that we offer. And so you're getting pretty close. You're in consideration range. You're pretty close to signing up for a demo or signing up for a subscription. You're right in there and you're looking at a service or a product-based page. If we go to that local business, if somebody puts in their day spa Atlanta or best interior designer in Denver, I'm going to categorize all those folks as being in that mid-funnel. Those people, those keywords map to service product pages, and they bring people in at that consideration phase of the game. When we go up to the top part of the funnel, we're in that awareness building. And so people are usually that we're bringing in here are several steps away. It could be days, weeks, months, or years away from being ready for our clients' products and services. So they're in our audience, but they're still at a very high level awareness phase of the game. And oftentimes these types of awareness keywords, they map usually to blog posts or resource oriented pages. And so like on Pathfinder, we have a how to start an SEO business, or is running an SEO agency profitable? We have blog posts like that, and they bring in that sort of awareness type traffic into our website where people are several steps away from needing our software, but they're certainly in our audience. If you're an interior designer, your awareness, content could be content around interior design. So like how to pick the best couch or new paint colors for 2024, although that would bring in visitors from all over the world and be pretty competitive, or it could be more specific to their geography. And so they may have a blog where they feature some of their partners, maybe general contractors in the area or something, and they get some traction for best general contractors in Denver, knowing that when someone builds a home, they're a few steps away from being ready to then hire an interior designer. And so they get in front of their audience a little ahead of the game, and they have this kind of awareness-based approach. So this concept of keyword strategy and sort of mapping your qualitative, just awareness-based, findings allow you to just kind of, again, build this mindset or kind of put this SEO hat on, where you're starting to think strategically about where does your client get traffic today, and where are their areas of success? Where are their areas of opportunity? So do they stand a chance in the mid-funnel, or is the mid-funnel super competitive? Is there anything you need to do? Like maybe you need to make sure you build really robust service or product pages because that will help them get into the mid-funnel, or you've got to build out this awesome blog because there's a lot of opportunity in the awareness space where it's a little less competitive, and that consideration space for the client is just super competitive. And so this framework and this visual can be really helpful for clients if you do start moving away from just keyword awareness to moving into keyword strategy for a client. So step 4 is we want to apply this knowledge. We've built some basic knowledge around how people search for our client's business and brand, and we can apply this in several places. So one place that we can apply this is in the sitemap. And this is probably the number one mistake I see web designers who don't have an in-depth SEO offering essentially go wrong. And that is sometimes in building like a simple website that feels user-friendly, we lose some SEO opportunity because we don't have physical pages to map clusters of keywords to. And so I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about what this means. So at our business, I'm going to give you a couple of different examples so you can apply it in your world. In our space, we're an SEO software company, but we have our software has different features. And so built into the software is process documentation. We have business resources. We have integrated SEO tools, and then we have coaching and community. And right now on our website, we only have one page for all of this. And so that's too many keywords across too many different clusters for one page to actually rank for. And so this page sort of just doesn't really rank for anything because it doesn't give a kind of a topically focused overview of any component. So one thing that we could do to up our SEO game for our website would be to build landing pages for features that map nicely to search volume. So people search for white label SEO report, software, tools, dashboard, etc. So we could build a page that would live under features. So it'd be like features/reporting or something like that. And that page would then map to the cluster of keywords around that topic. And we could do that for multiple sets of our different features. And we could get in front of our audience when they really are in this consideration phase, because they're looking for the feature of the software. When they're in the consideration phase, those pages have an opportunity to rank. I want to give you another example, and this is a website that represents, and I kind of gave some examples, all of Mount Rainier, and it went through a recent web design initiative with another agency, so it wasn't part of the actual redesign. And along the way, they simplified some things. This is a really big website, and I understand the need to simplify, but they created this /stay page. And on the stay page, I have all the different sub-locations, and then I have all the different lodging types, and then I have all the different amenities. In my perfect world, from an SEO standpoint, each one of these opportunities would take you to a page that was /stay and then /the thing. So instead, it takes us to /lodging, and then you can see this query string and a bunch of stuff. Google doesn't really index this very clearly, and in WordPress, I can't really optimize this very effectively. And so over here, if I come to the /stay page, I would rather that each one of these goes to like just a really static and basic URL, like stay/Ashford, or in this case, stay/hotels, because this would give me a nice static URL to give to Google to index around all the hotel keywords in this space. So in this case, by sort of simplifying things and having this one /lodging page with then using query strings, we've really limited our on-page SEO. I can't control readily the header up here. I can't add some header text here. The page title in this case is super generic, and it's the same for all of the things. And so Google's basically only going to index /lodging, and /lodging can't cover all of these keyword spaces, as well as if they had, just Mount Rainier lodging for families, or Mount Rainier lodging with hot tubs or pet friendly, etc. And so knowing the keyword space in advance, knowing that people don't just search Mount Rainier lodging or Mount Rainier rentals, they actually search with specific locations, specific lodging types, and sometimes amenities. And actually, sometimes they mix all of these. They know the location, the type, and the type of amenity that they're looking for. If you were designing and building this website, you would be forward thinking with SEO to build and design into the sitemap and the strategy this idea of having a landing page for each of these concepts. And so that concept of having that keyword awareness early on allows you to avoid future mistakes, because now we're going back in this website, now that we're kind of getting SEO forward thinking, and we're saying, hey, wondering why traffic is dropping? Let's go look at the page report and show you how much traction you were getting on your old website when you had those pages, and how that traffic is been diluted and has dropped now that you've consolidated into this simpler and yet not as SEO friendly, essentially site navigation or sitemap. So if there's one thing that keyword research will really help you do, it is build a sitemap that has SEO sort of integrated into it. The next thing that it can do is help you with headers and just general page structure. So we're going from a theme of the structure of the website, which matters a lot for SEO, to the structure of an individual page. And this is another place where we can add a lot of value, where if we know and we have some concept around keywords, we can help to lay out essentially like the H1, H2s, H3s, and we can help our clients, if they're going to be the ones copywriting, to sort of get the page layout to be not just user-friendly, but also very SEO-friendly. And so here's an example of, in this case, it's a services page all about Breckenridge whitewater rafting. And this gives the client a frame of kind of what do we need in this Breckenridge whitewater rafting page. We need something that talks about the rivers, something that talks about the trips, some testimonials, etc. And it becomes very simple to just weave in the phrase Breckenridge whitewater rafting and permutations thereof. Even without doing massive amounts of keyword research, we can put together a page layout like this for our clients. And then the next is copywriting. And so I use this qualitative process when I'm creating a blog post every time. I don't often quantify the data. Instead, I just go in and I say, okay, I need to create this. We're about to launch a new feature about Google Ads reports. So I need to go over to Google and I need to do search for Google Ads reporting and then see like, what do people search for? Dashboard, template, tool, metrics, etc. And so then I can say, okay, I'm going to look into the word tool a little bit more, and I'm going to look down here and see people are searching for how to do reporting for Google Ads, what's the best report, how do I create a report, etc. And so I can, in a very quick way, while I'm also, really just focused on the end experience, the blog post or the landing page about this, I can use this to build some keyword awareness. And to be honest, sometimes we're so close to something, I wouldn't have thought about the phrase dashboard. I would have thought of tool and software, but example, template, and dashboard, those wouldn't have been keywords on my radar. So if I didn't just take the 3 minutes to come in and just search for my seed keyword or my general topic and open my eyes, I may have missed some other variations of my core keyword or some other things I can do to add context. So if I add context, I'm saying who it's for, so for clients. And when I do that, at the top of my document of where I'm writing my content, I just note the keywords that I want to make sure I get in there. Then I go and I do all the writing and I come back at the end and I look at my keywords and I question myself, hey, did I use those keywords? Did I use them in purposeful ways? Do I have enough keyword density, etc.? And so this idea of building keyword awareness, it's going to help you at essentially 3 strategic levels. 1, getting the sitemap right. 2, helping clients structure the layout of a page in an SEO-friendly way. And then 3, when we're talking about writing an individual page or post, I can turn to Google without ever doing any major research or tools. And I can just make sure I'm adding this idea of keyword awareness into my copywriting and into my work. And really, all of this comes together, and it's really about helping your clients go further, faster in the search results, even if they don't have an SEO services plan with you. And it's about weaving in sort of some of this SEO naturally, because it doesn't necessarily take all that much more time, and it's something that's going to really add value in the end result of your web design projects. If you're interested in taking your SEO services up from this space that we are in today, which is what can you do sort of as you go or just organically as part of a web design project, if you're interested in adding on an SEO services offering to your business, Pathfinder offers a guided SEO solution for agency owners like yourself. And we really layer in process documentation and lessons. How do you actually deliver the service? Integrated tools so you can get more hands-on with keyword research, rank tracking, and then those monthly reports. We have coaching and community, and then we have all the business resources so that you can build and grow that services offering. So I'll leave you here with my contact information. Please reach out with any questions over email. I'm quickest to respond on email, although from time to time you'll find me on social media. And then there's also a coupon code in here for 25% off your first 3 months if you want to take Pathfinder for a spin. But I hope this has been helpful. I tried to leave us a few minutes here for questions. If anyone wants to add those in the chat, and we can get those answered. And it can be about keyword research. It can be about the business of offering SEO services, or really anything under the sun on SEO. I'll try to answer it if I can. And if I can't, I'll get back to you with the answer.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. That was such a great presentation. I loved all the takeaways from it. Like you said, if folks are watching and have questions, put them in the comments, whether you're on YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook, wherever you're watching, you can throw them in the comments and we'll see them here. So any SEO questions, feel free to share those. I would like to ask Lindsay, like, to kind of summarize what you've gone over in this presentation. Let's say we're talking to an agency owner who is more design and development focused. What would you say to that person on why they should, incorporate a little bit of SEO strategy into their services, maybe without taking the big step into offering it as an additional service, but just incorporating it into the web build?
Yeah, so I think as a web designer and developer, there are a lot of hats and roles and so many considerations. And so SEO is one, accessibility is another, like speed and security. There's so many things that you feel like you have to be an expert in to deliver a great website to somebody. It's very overwhelming and it's always changing. And so it's a lot to keep up with. And SEO is probably at the peak of that sort of overwhelm area, because everybody feels like, well, Google's always changing. And so why do I even need to go here if I don't want to offer SEO services? And I think my couple of kind of reasons why, even if you're not charging for SEO and like creating packaging and pricing, that I would really recommend it is, first, because your customer cares about just basic visibility on Google. And we always call it like the best foot forward approach. You want to feel like when you leave them with this awesome new website, that you've left them with sort of their best foot forward on SEO, even if they can't afford to hire you, if you don't offer services, if they never do any SEO moving forward. You want to make them, set them up for long-term success. And so it will set them up for long-term success. The other is that it'll help you avoid sort of a costly mistake. And so at our agency, we only offer SEO and SEM services, and we're not in the business of being a difficult partner. So that website I was showing you, the Mount Rainier one, we're not going back and throwing the current designers like under the bus for sort of missing what we consider to be like pretty significant usability piece. Instead, we're trying to work with them to bring it back, et cetera, and things like that. But you don't know who your client is going to go out and work with. And so if they do go out and hire another SEO agency, you want to feel like they've built trust with you, that you thought enough about SEO in the beginning that there isn't essentially this kind of like concept that there was a big mistake made. And so I think those are really the two reasons. One, that I'd kind of just say a little bit of an SEO mindset goes a long way. But I also understand the challenge of thinking about SEO and flexing this muscle while you're in parallel doing all the things that you love to do, know really well, et cetera.
Absolutely. I think that makes sense, because I know a big pain point for a lot of agency owners is when you're counting on the client for content, right? And that's always a bottleneck and an issue and all of that. So if you have an idea of, what are the keywords, and that you can kind of get a head start on that and do some of it ongoing. And of course, as you build that up and hone your skills and bring on folks on your team that can help with that, that's when you can start building out those services as well. And it's step by step, inch by inch, and grows the agency.
Yeah, definitely. And I think content is a huge pain point. But think about when you designed your own like web design website. I know for us, like working on our own content and our own websites is way harder than working on a client project. And so think about when you wrote your own about page or your own web design services page, how long did you stare at a blank piece of paper? And so if your client's not giving you content, it's not because they don't want to or they're ignoring your requests. It's probably because they're in that same situation of just sitting there like, oh, I don't even know where to begin. And so think about the power for them if you can drop them a quick framework for the content that just lays it out, kind of like that example I did with the whitewater rafting. And all they have to do is write the content that fills in the gaps from point to point. And most of that content stuff they know about their business. So they know the trips they offer. They know why that area is a great spot to be. They can write that content. But the skill set for you, or what some value you get out of it, is it may only take you 5 or 10 minutes to give them a frame of like, hey, these services pages should kind of follow this format. It may not take you that long, but it may have taken them long enough that they never put pen to paper because they didn't even know where to begin. So I think there's a lot of value of just being able to kind of weave in a little bit of SEO strategy and mindset, even if you're not offering SEO services.
Absolutely. Excuse me. We did have a question come in from Matt over on LinkedIn. So back to the Mount Rainier site, he's saying the possible variations for pages seem cumbersome, right? Location, hotel, hot tub, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How would you recommend deciding which page combos are necessary and which ones are maybe nice to have but not necessary?
That's a really excellent question. And you can see this like mapping out in all sorts of different kinds of big websites. So think of an e-commerce website. Like there's an endless combination of product and color and size and all this variation. Like how do you decide how many SEO landing pages to create and where to just let like filterability kind of kick into gear? And so the first place is you can go to the Search Console if they have an existing website and see like, well, what's their current sort of depth of these like matrix of pages, and is it doing anything for them? So sometimes we come in and we see that people took it to the other extreme. So instead of just lodging, they created like 100 permutations of something that really only should have had 10 of these pages. So it's like there's no clear answer. But generally looking at the Search Console, then turning to Google and actually seeing like, are people even searching for this when I get super granular, or is there just sort of an end line here where I don't need it? And so I don't need, place, type, and amenity. I just need place and type. And oftentimes we're essentially building also towards budget. And so maybe I can only do the communities pages, and then the type pages, I can't hit the amenities pages. It's just not in scope or in budget. But once we do that, we're going to be able to circle back down the road because we have the framework. It'd be very easy to spin up 10 more of these a year from now when the client has seen the value. And so at the very beginning, I showed some keyword research. It was just like an ugly looking spreadsheet, and it was neighborhood pages. And it was for a business where we did 10 neighborhood pages. That's it to begin with. But there were like 100 to pick from. And we did keyword research to identify which 10 would be the most impactful right out of the gate. But we phased the project. And once they saw the value of that traffic, it's really easy to get them to go do 20 more. So just kind of start, you don't want to be as far to the extreme as the example of the Rainier site, but you also don't have to go create 100 of these because then they get thin, duplicate, or maybe not even justifiable because there's not enough search volume.
Great advice. I love that. So good question. So thank you, Matt, for submitting that question. That we don't have any other questions coming in. We will be back with Lindsay again next month, so stay tuned for that. Again, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube and you're on YouTube watching us, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and you'll see what's coming up. We have more events coming next week as well. We've got some interviews with our Remote Leadership Unleashed series, so you don't want to miss those. Those are kind of quick and pack a punch, so I hope you guys can tune into that. And if you have any SEO questions, feel free to reach out to me, Emily@quicklyhire.com. And we can talk about those on this series with Lindsay. And again, you can find Lindsay at Lindsay@PathfinderSEO.com. 25% off first 3 months, 25 off 3 is the code. So go check out Pathfinder. If you have questions about it, Lindsay is, as you can see on this, she's wonderful to speak with. So reach out to her and find out more because Pathfinder is a great resource for agency owners looking to offer SEO services. So it makes it less scary, more manageable, and it's really scalable. So go check that out. Lindsay, thank you so much for your time today and your generosity with all your wisdom and expertise in SEO. And thank you everyone who joined in live. It's been a great live stream today. So I thank you all for joining in, and anyone watching the recording, thank you for watching us in the recording. So Lindsay, we'll see you next month.
See you then. Thanks so much.
All right. Bye, everybody.